Hello and welcome. Today I would like to show you guys how to apply thermal paste. I will show you guys a few different methods here on both the AMD and the Intel, and link you guys to the Arctic Silver website so you guys can check out exactly what they tell you to do. Good contact between the heatsink and the CPU is crucial in getting good temperatures. The thermal paste can make or break you here. If you apply way too much or way too little and your surfaces are unflat, it can have detrimental effects on temperature. Not saying your CPU or graphics card will die, but it's never good to have higher than normal temperatures since it's such a small thing to just change, add a little bit more, take a little away. So looking at these heat sinks here, you can see this one here has a much better contact on it, given it is a little too much. This here, as you can see, there's a lot of area there that it missed. This here is actually Arctic Silver, and this is stock paste supplied by Intel. So the amount that you use, it does make a big deal, and I just want to show you guys that. And now let's go on to actually applying it, the different ways you can apply it, and what I think. Okay, here we're looking at a AMD Athlon chip. This actually happens to be a socket 939, but I will use it for the example. Now, there's many ways to apply Arctic Silver, but I've used one or two ways, and the one way I think is a lot better and it's a lot easier. Basically, what you want to do, and I'm not actually going to use thermal paste because I kind of find it pointless, but you'll get the point here. You apply a very small amount, and there's always a way to test this. A lot of people will just shoot some on there, put the heatsink on. Well, my temperatures are bad. Well, okay, well, test it next time, see what it looks like when you apply different amounts. Now, if you lap your heatsink or you lap your CPU, these results and these methods will be totally different because the surfaces will be a lot more flatter and have less pits and stuff like that than the OEM surfaces. So basically, put a little dab in the middle here, and this all depends a lot on your heatsink too. It is kind of like an art in a way, I guess you could say, applying thermal paste. So put a little bit in the middle, take your heatsink, put it on top. I'll use this as an example even though this is totally different. Your heatsink here, put it on there, and just kind of give it a little turn there, and it should be good. But if you want to check it, just be careful and lift it off, and then check what your pattern looks like. And I mean, if it's flowing over the sides, stuff like that, you might want to clean it up. And as long as you haven't started up, you can try to apply it, but usually if you put it down here and then you lift it back up, there'll be air pockets when you put it back down, so it's usually not advised to do that, but I have done it and I didn't really notice any significant jump in temperatures. And on the newer Phenoms and all those, I'm sure there's a line method, and I'll like I said, I'll put the link to Arctic Silver. But I always find the most common method that a lot of people say is put some in the middle and then use a credit card and flatten it completely out, which if you do it the right way, it can work, but like I said, I use the dab in the middle method. And then over here on our Intel CPU, it's pretty much the same deal. Depending on what model of CPU you have, whether it's single core, dual core, quad core, you do the line method as well. But like I said, what I do is just I put the dab in the middle and I put my heatsink down. I mean, I've done this quite a few times, so I know exactly how much. And mine is also lapped, so I use quite a bit less than what most people would probably use. And it's always nice to be testing. And so you'd want to apply your heatsink there, move it around, and bolt it down, see what temperatures are in BIOS, and if they're good, boot into Windows, do a load test, see what you're looking at, and go from there. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to, like I said, put the heatsink on and move it around and take it back off. I mean, what are you wasting a little bit of thermal paste, which in the case of what I'm doing here, it would be pointless because these CPUs here are not going to go in any systems anytime soon, so putting thermal paste is kind of a waste. But if you're actually using a computer that you're planning on using and actually working on, and it will be operating, then yeah, it's definitely worth, because they usually give you enough for quite a few applications. And I know there's other manufacturers, like this is Thermalright CF2, and this is an AeroCool one. It's basically the same thing, and I find a lot of times with the individual setups, it's kind of like with overclocking. I mean, just the different way people do things, and cleaning is the biggest thing too. I mean, if your CPU is really dirty, it doesn't really matter what thermal paste you use or what kind of method you apply it, because it's still never going to get you the best temperatures you get. And if you're really worried that much about dropping temperatures, you need to either get a better cooler or lap your existing cooler and or CPU, because that drops temperatures a lot more than thermal paste. But then again, like I said, it depends on your setup, and if you're putting a whole lot on there or a little bit. Like I said, it's just as easy as taking your heatsink on and off. I know some heatsinks might be a little harder, but it's worth, once you finally boot up and the temperatures are good, you're good to go. Especially with Arctic Silver, there's a break-in period, so it really helps out. And that's about it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it taught you a little something about how I feel on thermal paste, because I see so many videos and I've made one myself, and it just I just decided I'd go and show you guys how I do it instead of just what the suggested method is. So thanks a lot, guys, and see you guys later.